A man sitting in a small garage, no famous investors, no billion-dollar company, no guarantee of success, just an idea that most people thought would fail. But what if I told you that this same man would go on to build one of the most powerful companies in human history? A company that would change the way billions of people shop. A company that would make him one of the richest men on earth. This is not just the story of Amazon. This is the story of risk, sacrifice, failure, and an unbelievable vision. This is the real story of Jeff Bezos. Part 1. The curious boy who dreamed bigger than everyone else. Before Jeff Bezos became one of the richest people in the world and built Amazon into a global empire, he was just a curious young boy with an extraordinary imagination and a passion for learning. Jeff Bezos was born on January 12, 1964, in Albuquerque, New Mexico. His early life was not easy. His parents separated when he was still very young, and his mother had to face many challenges while raising him. A few years later, his mother married Miguel Bezos, a hardworking immigrant from Cuba. Miguel adopted Jeff and became an important father figure in his life. From that moment, Jeff took the surname Bezos. Even as a child, Jeff was different from most kids around him. He was incredibly curious and always wanted to understand how things worked. Instead of simply playing with toys, he often took them apart to examine the pieces inside. One famous story from his childhood perfectly shows his personality. When Jeff was still very young, he used a screwdriver to take apart his crib because he believed he was too old to sleep in it. While other children accepted things as they were, Jeff constantly looked for ways to improve them. During summer vacations, Jeff spent a lot of time on his grandfather's ranch in Texas. Life on the ranch taught him valuable lessons about hard work, independence, and problem-solving. His grandfather could repair almost anything, and Jeff watched carefully, learning that every problem has a solution if you are willing to work for it. These experiences helped shape the mindset that would later make him a successful entrepreneur. At school, Jeff excelled in science and mathematics. He loved reading books, conducting experiments, and learning about technology. While many students focused only on having fun, Jeff was fascinated by the future and the possibilities that technology could create. As he grew older, his interest in computers became even stronger. He spent countless hours learning, exploring new ideas, and thinking about inventions that could change the world. Teachers quickly noticed that Jeff was exceptionally intelligent. He asked difficult questions, challenged ideas, and always wanted to learn more than what was taught in the classroom. By the time he graduated from high school, Jeff Bezos had already developed the habits that would define his future. Curiosity, discipline, determination, and a willingness to think differently from everyone else. What nobody knew at the time was that this young boy would one day create Amazon, revolutionize online shopping, and build one of the most powerful business empires in history. In Part 2, we will explore Jeff Bezos' years at Princeton University, his successful career on Wall Street, and the life-changing decision that led him to leave a secure job and start Amazon. Part 2. The student who refused to think small. In this part, we will explore how Jeff Bezos transformed from a brilliant student into a young man with ambitions far bigger than anyone around him. As Jeff Bezos grew older, his passion for science and technology continued to grow. He was not interested in living an ordinary life. Even as a teenager, he often talked about the future, space exploration, and inventions that could change humanity. After graduating from high school as one of the top students in his class, Jeff was accepted into Princeton University, one of the most prestigious universities in the United States. At Princeton, Jeff initially planned to study physics. However, he quickly realized that some of the students around him were among the most talented physicists in the country. Instead of stubbornly continuing down a path that wasn't his greatest strength, Jeff made a smart decision. He switched his focus to computer science and electrical engineering. This decision would completely change the course of his life. Jeff quickly became one of the university's strongest students. While many students were focused on parties and social activities, Jeff spent countless hours studying computers, technology, and business trends. He understood something that many people at the time did not. Computers were not just machines. They were the future. In 1986, Jeff graduated from Princeton with outstanding results. Because of his academic achievements, he immediately received job offers from several major companies. Most graduates would have been happy simply getting a good job. But Jeff was different. He wasn't looking for comfort. He was looking for opportunity. After graduation, Jeff worked for several technology and finance companies where he gained valuable experience. Everywhere he went, managers noticed the same thing. He learned faster than others, solved problems quickly, and was willing to take on difficult challenges. His reputation continued to grow. Eventually, Jeff joined a Wall Street investment company called D.E. Shaw. At the time, it was one of the most innovative firms in the financial industry. Jeff quickly impressed the company's founder and senior executives. Within just a few years, he became one of the youngest senior vice presidents in the firm's history. For most people, this would have been the dream: a prestigious position, a high salary, a successful career, financial security, everything a person could want. But despite his success, Jeff felt something was missing. Deep down, he believed he was meant to build something of his own. Then one day, while researching new technologies, Jeff discovered a statistic that would completely change his future. The internet was growing at a rate of more than 2,000% per year. Jeff couldn't stop thinking about it. The number was unbelievable. While most people barely understood what the internet was, Jeff saw something much bigger. He saw the future. Night after night, he thought about the possibilities. What if businesses could sell products online? What if customers could order anything from their homes? What if the internet changed the way people shopped forever? The more he thought about these questions, the more convinced he became that he was witnessing the beginning of a massive revolution. Soon, Jeff Bezos would face the biggest decision of his life. A decision that would require him to walk away from a secure career, risk everything he had, and chase an idea that many people believed would fail. In Part 3, we will discover the moment Jeff Bezos quit his high-paying Wall Street job, drove across America with a bold business plan, and began building Amazon from a small garage. Part 3. The risk that changed everything. In this part, we will explore the bold decision that changed Jeff Bezos' life forever and marked the beginning of Amazon. By the early 1990s, Jeff Bezos had achieved what most people only dream about. He had a high-paying job on Wall Street, a respected position at D.E. Shaw, and a bright future in the financial world. From the outside, his life looked perfect. But inside, Jeff couldn't stop thinking about the internet. Every day, he watched the number of internet users grow at an unbelievable rate. The more research he did, the more convinced he became that the internet would transform the world. Most people ignored the opportunity. Jeff couldn't. He began searching for products that could be sold online. After analyzing dozens of possibilities, one category stood out above all others: books. There were millions of book titles available, far more than any physical bookstore could stock. Jeff realized that an online bookstore could offer customers a much larger selection than any traditional store. The idea seemed simple, but turning that idea into reality would require a huge sacrifice. Jeff knew that if he wanted to build this business, he would have to leave his comfortable job and start from scratch. It was one of the hardest decisions of his life. He discussed the idea with his wife, Mackenzie. Together, they considered the risks. There was no guarantee of success, no guarantee of profit, no guarantee that anyone would buy books online. In fact, many people believed the idea was completely unrealistic. Still, Jeff couldn't ignore what he saw coming. He later described his thinking through what he called the regret minimization framework. He imagined himself at 80 years old looking back on his life. Would he regret trying and failing? Or would he regret never trying at all? The answer became clear. He would regret not trying. And so, Jeff made his decision. In 1994, he resigned from his prestigious Wall Street position. Many people thought he was making a terrible mistake. Why would someone leave a secure career for an unproven internet startup? But Jeff believed that opportunities like this came only once in a lifetime. Soon after leaving his job, Jeff and Mackenzie packed their belongings and began a long road trip from New York to Seattle. While Mackenzie drove the car, Jeff sat in the passenger seat writing the business plan that would eventually become Amazon. The journey wasn't just a move across the country. It was the beginning of a completely new chapter. When they arrived in Seattle, Jeff rented a house with a small garage. That garage became Amazon's first headquarters. The company had no large office, no famous investors, no massive team, just a small group of people working long hours with a big dream. Jeff personally helped build desks, write software, package orders, and answer customer emails. Every dollar mattered. Every customer mattered. Every order felt like a victory. The company was originally called Cadabra, but Jeff quickly changed the name after realizing people often misunderstood it. After searching through the dictionary, he found a word that felt perfect. Amazon, named after the world's largest river. A name that reflected his vision of building the world's largest store. At the time, nobody could have imagined how powerful that name would eventually become. The garage was small. The resources were limited. The risks were enormous. But Jeff Bezos had officially started the company that would one day change global commerce forever. In Part 4, we will discover Amazon's difficult early years, the financial struggles, the constant pressure from competitors, and the moments when the company came dangerously close to failure. Part 4. The difficult early years, struggle, and the fight to survive. In this part, we will explore the most difficult period in Amazon's early journey, when financial losses, fierce criticism, and the dot-com crash threatened to destroy everything Jeff Bezos had worked so hard to build. By the late 1990s, Amazon was growing faster than anyone had imagined. More customers were visiting the website every day. More products were being added, and more employees were joining the company. From the outside, Amazon looked like a success story. But behind the scenes, the reality was very different. The company was spending enormous amounts of money. New warehouses had to be built. Technology had to be improved. More workers had to be hired. And Amazon was expanding faster than it was making money. Year after year, the company reported losses. Critics began questioning Jeff Bezos. Many investors started asking the same question. When will Amazon finally become profitable? The pressure kept increasing. Business experts appeared on television predicting Amazon's failure. Financial analysts warned investors to stay away from the company. Some newspapers even mocked Amazon, calling it Amazon.bomb instead of Amazon.com. According to them, it was only a matter of time before the company collapsed. But Jeff Bezos refused to change his vision. He believed that Amazon was building something much bigger than a simple online bookstore. He knew that short-term profits were not as important as long-term growth. While others focused on quarterly earnings, Jeff focused on the future. Then came the biggest challenge of all. In the year 2000, the dot-com bubble burst. The internet industry entered a period of chaos. Hundreds of technology companies disappeared almost overnight. Billions of dollars were wiped out from the stock market. Fear spread everywhere. Investors lost confidence. Companies went bankrupt. And suddenly, Amazon found itself in the middle of the storm. Amazon's stock price crashed dramatically. The company's value dropped by more than 90% from its peak. Many people believed the end was near. Some experts predicted that Amazon would not survive another year. For Jeff Bezos, it was one of the most stressful periods of his life. Every day brought new uncertainty. Every decision could determine the future of the company. The pressure was enormous. Employees were worried. Investors were worried. The media was waiting for Amazon to fail. But Jeff Bezos remained calm. Instead of panicking, he focused on customers. He believed that if Amazon continued providing value, customers would keep coming back. And if customers stayed loyal, the company would eventually survive. While competitors were cutting back on innovation, Amazon continued improving its services. While others were retreating, Amazon kept building for the future. It was a risky strategy, but Jeff believed it was the right one. Slowly, the results began to appear. Customers continued shopping on Amazon. Revenue continued growing. The company became stronger and more efficient. Little by little, Amazon started proving its critics wrong. The business that many people expected to disappear was still standing. And more importantly, it was preparing for an even bigger future. The darkest days were finally coming to an end. Jeff Bezos had survived the toughest battle of his entrepreneurial journey. But the greatest success was still ahead. In Part 5, we will discover how Amazon expanded beyond books, launched revolutionary services like Amazon Prime and AWS, and transformed Jeff Bezos into one of the richest people in the world. Part 5. The man who changed the world of shopping. In this part, we will explore how Amazon transformed from an online bookstore into a global empire and how Jeff Bezos became one of the most powerful business leaders in the world. By the early 2000s, Amazon had survived some of the toughest years in its history. Many internet companies had disappeared during the dot-com crash. Investors lost billions of dollars and countless startups went bankrupt. But Amazon survived. Jeff Bezos had spent years focusing on long-term growth instead of short-term profits. While many people criticized his strategy, he remained confident. Now his patience was beginning to pay off. Amazon was no longer just selling books. The company started selling electronics, toys, clothing, home products, and thousands of other items. Every year, the selection became bigger. Every year, more customers joined the platform. Jeff's goal was simple. He wanted customers to find almost anything they wanted on Amazon. And slowly, that vision became reality. One of Amazon's biggest advantages was its obsession with customer satisfaction. Jeff often repeated a simple idea: focus on customers, not competitors. While other companies worried about what rivals were doing, Amazon focused on making shopping easier, faster, and more convenient. This strategy helped Amazon build incredible customer loyalty. Then came one of the most important innovations in the company's history: Amazon Prime. When Amazon introduced Prime, many experts thought the idea was risky. Offering fast shipping for a fixed membership fee seemed expensive and difficult to maintain. But customers loved it. Prime completely changed online shopping. People could order products quickly and conveniently without worrying about shipping costs. Millions joined the program, then tens of millions, then hundreds of millions. Amazon's growth accelerated even further. But Jeff Bezos wasn't finished. He continued investing in new opportunities. One of the most important was Amazon Web Services, also known as AWS. At first, very few people paid attention to it. However, AWS eventually became one of the most profitable parts of Amazon's business. Companies around the world began using Amazon's cloud technology to power websites, applications, and digital services. Suddenly, Amazon wasn't just a retail company. It had become a technology giant. As Amazon expanded across the globe, Jeff Bezos's wealth increased dramatically. The entrepreneur who once packed books in a garage was now leading one of the most valuable companies on earth. His net worth climbed into the billions, then tens of billions. Eventually, he became the richest person in the world. Yet despite the success, Jeff continued thinking about the future. He believed innovation never stops. He believed companies that become comfortable eventually fall behind. That mindset kept Amazon moving forward year after year. By now, Jeff Bezos had achieved something extraordinary. He had transformed a simple online bookstore into a company that changed the way billions of people shop, work, and use technology. But even after conquering e-commerce, Jeff Bezos was preparing for an even bigger dream. A dream that had inspired him since childhood. A dream that involved space. In Part 6, we will explore Jeff Bezos' journey beyond Amazon, the creation of Blue Origin, his vision for the future, and the lessons that made him one of the most influential entrepreneurs in modern history. Part 6. Beyond Amazon, the legacy of Jeff Bezos. In this final part, we will explore how Jeff Bezos went beyond Amazon, pursued his childhood dream of space exploration, and built a legacy that continues to shape the future. By the late 2010s, Amazon had become one of the most powerful companies in the world. Millions of people used Amazon every day. Businesses relied on Amazon's technology. And Jeff Bezos had become one of the most recognized entrepreneurs on the planet. But despite everything he had achieved, Jeff wasn't ready to stop. For decades, he had carried a dream that started when he was just a child. A dream about space. As a young boy, Jeff was fascinated by rockets, science fiction, and the future of humanity beyond Earth. While building Amazon, he never forgot that dream. In 2000, Jeff founded a private space company called Blue Origin. Unlike Amazon, Blue Origin operated quietly for many years. Most people barely knew it existed. But behind the scenes, Jeff was investing billions of dollars into research and development. His goal was ambitious. He wanted to make space travel cheaper, safer, and more accessible for future generations. Many people questioned the idea. Some believed it was impossible. Others thought it would take decades to succeed. But Jeff had heard doubts before. People doubted Amazon. People doubted online shopping. And now people were doubting Blue Origin. That only motivated him even more. Year after year, Blue Origin continued testing rockets and developing new technologies. Then, in July 2021, Jeff Bezos achieved a milestone he had dreamed about for most of his life. He flew into space aboard Blue Origin's New Shepard rocket. For Jeff, it was more than a business achievement. It was the realization of a childhood dream. The same curious boy who once imagined humanity living beyond Earth had finally traveled to space himself. That same year, Jeff stepped down as CEO of Amazon. After leading the company for nearly 3 decades, he transitioned into a new role as executive chairman. The decision allowed him to spend more time focusing on innovation, space exploration, and long-term projects. By this point, Jeff Bezos had already changed the world. He transformed online shopping. He helped build one of the largest cloud computing businesses in history. He inspired millions of entrepreneurs to think bigger and take risks. But perhaps the most important lesson from Jeff's journey is not about money. It's about courage. The courage to leave a comfortable job. The courage to take risks when others are afraid. The courage to think long-term when everyone else is focused on the present. Jeff Bezos started with a simple idea in a small garage. No one knew whether it would succeed. No one could predict that it would become one of the most valuable companies in human history. Yet through persistence, innovation, and an unwavering belief in the future, he turned that idea into a global empire. His story proves that extraordinary achievements often begin with ordinary people who are willing to take extraordinary risks. And that is the story of Jeff Bezos. From a curious young boy, to the founder of Amazon, to one of the most influential entrepreneurs the world has ever seen.